Hello and welcome to a special episode of Reading in Bed Extracts with me, Amanda Steele. Now, some of you might know I have an anthology out that I've edited and I'm also in alongside 30 other writers, and that's called From the Shadows, a Printed Words Anthology. And today I'm going to read some poems and story extracts from some of the authors in that anthology. And if you like to buy the book, you can buy it on Amazon in paperback, as well as lots of other places. And it's also available in ebook on Kindle, Apple, Kobo, and many other platforms. And I'll include some of the links in the write-up along with the blurb. And the first piece I'm going to read out is a poem by Miriam H. Harrison called Devoted. She always was. Devoted. Her word, for watching me, tracking me, claiming me as her own. When I buried her, it was in self-defense. Yet even now, her breath is on my skin. Her hand is on my hair. Her claim on my body as I wake alone. She always was devoted. And now I'm going to read an extract from a short story by Lena NG called The Devil's Playground. And I'm just going to read the first page of this. And if you like the sound of it, you'll have to buy the anthology to read the rest. Goths, punks, cokeheads and metalheads, all drawn by the pumping bass neon lights and plenty of designer drugs, drawn to the club like swarming flies to a corpse. Guys with coal-lined eyes, gelled hair and spiked dog collars around their pale skinny necks, sneering mouths coated in waxy black sleeves of their leather jackets rolled up to their elbows. Girls with teased bangs high above their foreheads, short skirts and loose tops hanging off one shoulder like Madonna, down to the penciled in black mole on the side of a scowling lip. Even yuppies wanted in on the action. Greed was good, and there was plenty of money going around. They stepped out of long black limousines, men in grey three-piece square-cut suits and polished crocodile shoes, black pages hanging from leather belts since they were always on call for a deal. Women with broad shoulder pads, hot pink eyeshadow and slashes of blush to match, bleached blonde permed hair and mile-high killer stilettos. Some went for the androgynous David Bowie look, pantsuits and piercing cheekbones, glazed with a haughty attitude. No matter what group they thought they belonged to, they all had to wait in line. The velvet rope stretched around the block, and no matter the time of night, the line into the club was long. The red neon light flashed the Devil's Playground, and it promised cheap, plentiful ecstasy, no matter which way you took it, smoked, snorted, shot into veins, or a ravenous 2-minute rendezvous in a bathroom stall. Work hard, play hard, and the Devil's Playground lured them inside with the hardest hitting play of all. A pleasure island of synthesizers, electronic beats, toned bodies, and a chemical frenzy. And now I'm going to read a poem from the book called We Hide in Plain Sight by Juleigh Howard-Hobson. Be secret, be safe. Don't let them know you. Smile when they smile. Wear what they wear. Become an undistinguished example of who they think their neighbours are. Observe, play dumb. Never state a thing about yourself that could be true. Never let your eyes show what you really are. You are something else. You are not like them. They must never know that ever they might laugh and gossip with you right now. But if they find out, if they even suspect, then it's all over. Swift, final. They'll accuse you, arrest you, try you. You won't have a chance. Guilty. You die. And this next poem from the book is by Amanda Jane Bayliss, and it's called Who's There? Not a breeze, not a soul. Who's there? No one knows. Backwards and forwards, forwards and backwards. Weathered, tattered rope, moving without force. Unoccupied, splintered seat, moving without wind, moving without body. Who's there? No one knows. So now I'm going to read an extract of a short story called Taxi by Christy Vincent. I recognised his cab before his face. Would I even have looked at the cab, though, if I hadn't sensed someone glaring at me? I don't have an answer for that. All I know for sure is that I was walking back to my car and felt the need to look to my right. As soon as my head turned, his went down, so I only caught the tail end of his glare. If I hadn't seen him last night, I would have chalked my feeling up to paranoia from being out and about in the middle of the night. Delivering newspapers was not exactly a safe job, especially as a woman. I mean, sure, all I did was drive around to quick trips and hotels mostly, all well-lit, populated locations, but still. Cops hung out at the quick trips because they got free fountain drinks, which I think Quick Trip does intentionally. Free drinks attract lots of cops. Lots of cops deter robbers. Free drinks are cheaper than full-time security. Problem solved. So yeah, I don't normally feel paranoid, but I had been on edge all day. After what happened last night, I just felt a little off, you know. I had already been walking fast, but once I saw the guy in the cab, I picked up the pace, slamming my door and locking it in one swift motion. I grabbed my paperwork, pretending to focus my attention on it. However, I was using my peripheral vision hardcore to see what the guy was doing. And finally, I'm going to read an extract of a short story by Gary S. Watkins called Yours Now. The apparatus, chrome and sterilised white vinyl, gleamed in the harsh fluorescent light beyond the two-way mirror, dazzling and spotless. The instruments, the electrodes, even the straps which would restrain him were all chrome or shiny white. The surgeon's table hadn't shone like that. Stainless steel, not chrome. Stainless as though all the badness washed away with the blood. But it didn't. That's how Becca felt. Stained, except hers were on the inside. They would never wash away. A few people entered the room, quietly behind him, and took their seats as though walking into a theatre, which in a way it was. Two remained near the door, speaking in hushed whispers. No, she hasn't spoken since the incident. She's cognizant, but compliant. She does as she's asked, but doesn't respond with words or emotions. That was Meg, a therapist, talking to a reporter from the Dispatch. Becca thought it odd that he was here. There were no reporters the night it happened. Why was it important now, so much later? It didn't matter. She hadn't come for him. Becca peered into the therapy room, steadying herself on the rail that ran the length of the mirror. If she adjusted her focus, she could just make out the reflection in the glass. Shorn auburn hair framed the hazel-eyed, pale, delicate face, empty of expression. Pink creases marred the pale complexion. One clipped her right eyebrow, another traced a line from her left cheekbone down to the tip of her mouth. Other marks could only be detected if examined closely, for she had healed remarkably well. So those are just a few poems from the anthology and a couple of extracts from some of the short stories. In total, there's work from 31 different writers, and some of them have sent in short stories and others have sent in poetry, and they're all in the crime or horror genre. So if you like the sound of the book, it's called From the Shadows, a printed words anthology. And you can find it on Amazon in paperback or Kindle, and it's also available on other websites as well as paperback, and in all the different platforms of ebook, so Apple, Kobo, and any others that you can think of. And I'll include a link in the write-up so you can find some of them. So thanks for listening, and tune in next time for another episode of Reading in Bed Extracts, where I'll be reading an extract from a different author's book. So thanks for listening. Bye, everyone.